Alright, with the end of 2023 and the prelude of the next story arc coming 2024, I think it's finally time to talk about Gen Z childhood nostalgia. Knowing that pretty much half of Gen Z is already adults and are going to college and don't know what to do in their life, and going back in the past and rethinking about the early 2010s. Now, I don't know about you, but the late 2000s and the early 2010s were pretty much the best period for humanity. A period pretty much you would never have thought that the world could change from then to what we have now, within only a span of a decade. And if that isn't true, look at Gen Alpha right now, being completely ruined by one simple meme, Skibidi Toilet. And to this day, I still don't understand it. Knowing that we had a handful of memes back then on YouTube, this meme could have pretty much passed on for back then. But seeing these types of memes now, it just doesn't hit the same at all. I mean, think about it. You have many Gen Alpha kids in the future saying, if you didn't see CoComelon, you didn't have a childhood. And I will say this right now, no one can compare it to Gen Z. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. So let's talk about it. Elementary school was pretty much the biggest contributor when it came to Gen Z nostalgia. And sadly, when you look back at it now, you're just completely ashamed of yourself, knowing that those were the best times that you have ever had in your lifetime. Spanning from Silly Bands, Bakugan, Beyblade, Legos, Pillow Pets, Zuzu Pets, Pokemon cards, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll just say this right now, if you had a Silly Band, especially back in elementary school, you were pretty much the certified cool kid. Silly Bands were pretty much the equivalent of having a $50,000 watch on your wrist, and people will outright go out their way to trade with you and hustle more Silly Bands to add to their next collection. I'm talking about General Grievous collecting lightsabers type of hustle. Really walking up to you in the middle of the class talking about, hey, I know that's a special Silly Band. I'm willing to trade 5D Silly Bands just for that one. And I swear, being that one kid with that glow in the dark Silly Band, you were totally the biggest baller throughout that whole school. Legos and playing cards were also a part of the big three. And for me, while playing cards were alright and pretty cool, I wasn't into them as I was with Legos. I don't know, something about Legos and seeing that you could build your own characters and creating different Lego sets was pretty much amazing to us. I mean, Legos were so popular at my elementary school that we would literally use the rest of our recess time, instead of playing hula hoops, instead of playing jump ropes, instead of playing kickball. And trust me, kickball was the greatest thing ever at recess. But instead of playing all of those games, we decided to play Legos. And we'll literally gatekeep a specific area, which was the bench area, where everyone will pretty much do all their dealings at. And looking back at it, we were really treating Legos like it was drugs. I mean, we would have the nerve to take our Lego pieces, put them in a container, or even put them in sandwich bags, bring them to school, and once we start opening it up during recess, everybody's rubbing their hands together, licking their lips. Everyone has a devious smile on their face and can't keep down the anticipation of waiting and seeing what type of Legos you have. I mean, I swear elementary school was pretty much a real life RPG where everyone was pretty much trading whatever toys they got. Also, when it comes to elementary school, if you didn't have book fair, shame on you, because I don't care what anyone says, reading books as a kid was just way better than reading them in like middle school or even high school. I don't know if it was because we were kids and we had better imaginations, and as you get older you start to see the reality of things, but for some reason when it came to elementary school and reading books was peak. Like, I mean, you would go out your way to read a book because everyone got a chance to look at these specific types of books at school that I know we all had. Goosebumps, The 39 Clues, I Survived, Diary of the Wimpy Kid, My Weird School, and other amazing classic books that we all know and love. And these books pretty much had us in the chokehold to the point where we pretty much wouldn't read anything else. And if you have read these books, you will understand that these books literally have sequels on top of sequels. And you always have to go to the library and renew it because you would never have time to ever finish one. Also, shout out to the schools that will pretty much force us to watch Polar Express every single Christmas season. And that is one thing that's definitely changed with all of us, is seasons. Because I remember in elementary school where we took seasons seriously. We would have the nerve to pretty much decorate the whole school with whatever season was going on. Whether it was Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Halloween, Christmas. One thing that's going to be a shocker for you is going to middle school. Seeing that many of these things that you did in elementary school will be taken away from you. Reading books wouldn't be the same, book fairs wouldn't exist, recess doesn't exist, and you will be lucky to have any of these things progressing through your years. Another good thing about the early 2010s was definitely TV shows. And listen loud and clear, if you're someone who was born in the 2000s and you didn't watch Boomerang, Cartoon Network, Disney XD, Nickelodeon in its prime, then get out. Just get out, because that's telling me you pretty much missed out on all the hood classics that we had growing up. I think we could all agree that we will never forget the days where we had to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to turn on the TV and watch the reruns of SpongeBob, or even watching the funny game shows that actually were pretty funny, like Wipeout, Hole in the Wall, Destroy Build Destroy. I mean, you would never get as good as these shows were nowadays. And Cartoon Network and Disney XD should be sued for how long they had us kids in a chokehold. I mean, you couldn't go a day without not turning on the TV. But sadly in 2023, the channels that have named so far they pretty much fell off beyond Earth. And I'm talking about the biggest fall off that you will ever see in human history. Cartoon Network pretty much lost all of its momentum that it had ever since regular show Adventure Time and The Amazing World of Gumball ended. I mean, let's be honest, who's still watching Cartoon Network in 2023? Because they definitely do not live up to what we had, creating shows like Uncle Grandpa and having the nerve to reboot classic shows like Total Drama Island. Explain to me, what is this? I mean, even Cartoon Network knows themselves that these shows were certified classics and it literally carried the whole channel. And another major reason why these shows fell off is because we pretty much all grew up. Also, if you guys were lucky, you would have gotten a chance to watch anime for the first time, like Dragon Ball Z Kai or even Attack on Titan. And the TV shows nowadays that you see being produced for kids is the biggest slap to the face to everyone. Knowing that Teen Titans 2003 was literally airing on Cartoon Network. And the Teen Titans, people were actually getting bodied in that show. Last time I remember, that show was serious. And it should be a crime that Cartoon Network has the nerve to give kids this type of content. I mean, look at how they massacre my boy. I think we could also talk about the video games, especially the Nintendo DS. Because I swear people literally got the Nintendo DS just to have it and literally flex on people. I mean, before the Switch, the Nintendo DS was the Switch. And the annoyance of the Game Boy and having them game cards that were like this small, always losing them, and sometimes you had to blow the air through the cartridge, dusty and not working. But many of us were lucky to get a PlayStation 1 or even a PlayStation 2, including the GOATed console ever, Xbox 360. And I will say this, Minecraft Xbox 360 edition was the best game ever, hands down. Obviously, you had many more games out there, but Minecraft was just a different breed of gaming. Only just for in the next 2 years for Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Uncharted to drop a PlayStation 3. And I also gotta add the computer school games that we all played, including the iPad games, like Cool Math Games, Run, Pop Tropica, Club Penguin, Angry Birds, Minecraft PE, Temple Run, and even Subway Surfers. And I mean, there's so much and so much more mobile games out there that just contributed to everything that I can't even name it all. And these computer games and mobile games were all goated, no doubt about it. I mean, before the ridiculous microtransactions and the complete gatekeeping ads they add to the game. Like nowadays with mobile games, you literally can't even play a game. It's a shame what gaming has turned out to be nowadays compared to then. And one final thing that has definitely shaped our childhood was definitely YouTube. And if you could go back in time to see what YouTube was back then compared to now, I can guarantee you probably want to vomit. Seeing how much the site has changed, especially producing with OG content creators like Markiplier, Corey Kenshin, Dash Games, Vanoss Gaming, PewDiePie, and many more content creators out there. And now you have content being produced like this. Regardless of whatever YouTube content comes out nowadays, nothing can compare to Markiplier's Let's Plays of Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, that man literally had every single kid in a literal chokehold. So much so that we would literally wake up in the morning just to go strictly to YouTube and watch these Let's Plays. Just to watch anything FNAF related and watching all the lore videos consistently every day. The FNAF fandom then is just so different. Or even when the Minecraft community was actually the Minecraft community and not this toxic piece of garbage that we have now. Regardless, don't be sad that it's over and be happy that it happened. And you got to live during the golden ages of peakness of humanity. I mean, if you got to experience everything that I've stated in this video, just go ahead and get your certified Gen Z card because you pretty much seen it all. Knowing that you could have been born in a different timeline, you got lucky to be born in the early 2000s. It just know it will take time to adjust to Skibbity Toilet, pretty much ruining Gen Alpha as we speak. But hey, I'm here for the downfall. If you enjoyed this video and can relate to pretty much everything I've stated in here, like, comment, subscribe. Are you also in agreement that Gen Z was pretty much the lucky generation? Because you already know we're never getting that back again. That's over with. You can scrap all that. It's Josh, keeping it real, signing off.